Welcome back to the next installment of my whiskey videos. This one will not be bourbon, so I can't call it Boils and Bourbon. This is a foray into the more gentlemanly, scholarly whiskey for learned people. Okay? I'm obviously learned. Check the shirt, okay? Check the book that tells you how much I know. Check the poster I've had for 5 years and have yet to put in a frame or hang up. Okay? This means I'm essentially a Scotch expert. So I know everything about Scotch. One-stop shop. Oh shit, sorry. Anyway, thanks for watching. I figured I would change it up a little bit. A couple people have asked for Scotch videos. I actually first got into whiskey in the Scotch world. It was with a bottle of Johnny Walker Black, of all things. Then I tried the red because it was cheaper, and the campfireness of it is what I really enjoyed to start, because I was like, oh wow, it's like I'm drinking a fucking campfire in a drink. Now I was drinking on the rocks mostly. And then I started to get into other things, try single malts rather than blended, try a whole bunch of stuff, and I kind of started buying a bottle every paycheck, and then I got to a point where I had like maybe 10 to 12 bottles. And then once I killed one, I would buy a new one or something like that. I actually had a system set up versus now I don't. I just kind of buy things, and it's to my whatever the word I'm looking for is. Anyway, so today I kind of was unsure on what to do. A lot of Scotch I have is kind of higher end, not to sound snobbish. It's just that I've tried a lot of the $40, $50 bottles, and they're good. But same thing with bourbon. You just get to know what you like, and then you decide, you know what, I'll just spend money to get the things that I know I'll really enjoy. So the first bottle, this is a little more expensive, but it has a bunch of lower end offerings that are also very, very good. So I figured I'd kind of start here. So first bottle in the Scotch Like a Sir series of Scotch will be the Balvenie 21-year Portwood. Balvenie has quite a few different offerings. Whoops, sorry, camera's messed up. They have quite a few offerings ranging anywhere from about 50 or 60 on up to, a lot of money. So this one I got as a Christmas gift from my brother-in-law. Thank you, Mike. I actually bought a bottle almost the same time of a Balvenie Tun, Tun 1509 or 1509 batch 4, I think it is. That bottle I think set me back about 4 or 450, 425, I can't remember. So to date at retail, that's the most expensive bottle of whiskey I've bought. But that one is excellent. It's something different. It's got like a lot going on. This one is more kind of your traditional Highlands Scotch. So a little bit of Scotch education for those who may not know. Scotch is only made in Scotland, so it cannot be Scotch if it's not from Scotland. Really plain and simple. And it has to be of a single grain. So in this case, single malt whiskey, usually malted barley, is pretty much all their stuff, but it's single malts. Balvenie, like I said, so I think what first got me to them, their 12 year is fine. Their 14-year Caribbean cask is excellent. It's finished in rum casks. It used to be about $65, $70. I think I've seen it now. It's usually 85 to 100. So, but this one here, as of right now on the Benny's website, $300, $299.99. I think when I was first seeing it, it was more like $250, $275. But as I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed, pretty much any brown liquid price has gone up over the last couple years. Let's go ahead and pour this bad boy. So, once again, Balvenie 21 Portwood. So this is a 21-year Scotch. I'll read it to you because I don't remember 100%. Oops, bigger pour than I meant to. So distillery, blah blah blah. In the making of Balvenie Portwood, our malt master carefully selects rare reserves of Balvenie and transfers them to port casks for a further few months of maturation. So this is essentially 21-year whiskey, and then they just put it in port casks for a couple months. Most all Scotch starts aging in ex-bourbon casks. So a lot of Scotches will market that finished in bourbon casks or aged in bourbon casks because it's a selling point to get bourbon people to be like, ooh. But in reality, over 90, I think it's like 90%, 95% of all Scotch during its maturation process age in bourbon barrels because they're cheap. They get them from the US, they age them in that. Usually, most people finish it though in something. So, like in this case, port, more commonly sherry. Sherry is a very common finish, especially in the Highlands region for Scotch. And then I was going to read the back real quick. The Balvenie distillery has been owned by the same independent family company for 5 generations. Nowhere else will you find a distillery that still grows its own barley, that still malts its own traditional floor, in its own traditional floor maltings, that still has coopers to tend the casks and a coppersmith to tend the stills. Characterized by fruit, honey, and spice notes with a gentle, nutty finish. I haven't had this in a couple months. I think this was a celebration bottle either for Christmas or my son's birthday or something. I can't remember. But anyway, it's really, really good. So let's set that back here. Like I said, this one runs about $300. Oh, baby. Oh, and I forgot to tell you. But I think it's 43. Yeah, so 43% ABV. Most all Scotch is measured in ABV, not proof. But obvious math. Multiply that by 2. So carry the 6. So it's about 120 proof. I'm just kidding. So it'd be 86 proof. But 43% alcohol. That's pretty much standard for any Scotch. You can get some cask strength ones, or occasionally they'll be like 46%. But then cask strength, you can see them in the upper 40s, low 50s. I don't think I've ever seen any in the 60s, or very few. Because whereas we, the Americans and the bourbon lovers, are like, give me the fucking proof. Scotch is for learned, sophisticated folks who don't need to get hammered on good whiskey. I'm sure they probably do too, let's be honest. Nose on this is excellent. Definitely get some of the chocolate kind of dark port smells, the very sweet port fortified wine kind of thing. Very oily on the old SJ. So there's an up close picture if you wanted to see it with my reflection in it on both sides. Hey, come on, camera. Thanks. All right, well, cheers, folks. And when we're drinking Scotch, Pinky's got to be out. Oh, baby. This is just a reminder why I don't know why I chase bourbon all the time. $300 for this, sitting on the shelf, pretty much any Benny's or liquor store. Meanwhile, I chase all the bullshit, spend all the money to get a bunch of bottles that I don't even drink that much. That's excellent. Very, very good. Kind of a little bit more Scotch education for if you guys are into Scotch. Sorry that I'm boring you. But in Scotland, there are 3 distinct regions, kind of 4 with some sub-regions. But the one that everyone hates, that doesn't like Scotch, that everyone associates with Scotch is Islay. So Islay, Islay. Those are from the East Coast Islands of Scotland. That's where you get your super peaty, super smoky, very it's just off-putting. So if you're not looking for that, it's very off-putting, which is Islay. So that's your Laphroaigs, your Lagavulin, your Ardmore. There's some other big hitters in there, but those are kind of the main ones that you'll see on the shelf or would recognize by name. So those for the most part, are very peaty. There is a measurement, PPI, I think, which is peats per unit, or PPU. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, you'll find that those are very high in the Isla stuff. There's also the kind of more common, approachable, or the Highlands, or the Speyside. So Speyside is kind of the more floral, light, kind of light taste, light mouthfeel, very approachable, very little to no peat in Speysides for the most part. Highlands kind of are my go-to. I think that's the ones that kind of have the best of all of the regions. So that's kind of in the Highlands, which is like the mountains, or the, that area of Scotland. Those tend to be your Macallans, or anything with the word Glen in it. So Glendronach, Glenlivet, Glenfiddich, Glenmorangie. All of those are like Highland Speyside whiskeys. If someone says they like Scotch, but they don't like smoky or peaty or, woody, then that's probably where you want to lean, is the Speysides or the Highlands. Those are very good. There's also, like I said, a couple subsets. So there's the Isle of Skye, there's the Orkney Isles. So that's like your Highland Park, Talisker, Jura. So those kind of walk the line of being kind of peaty, but also a lot of the best characteristics of Highlands. So those I've kind of grown to like a little bit more. And then you have places that are kind of an eccentricity, like Bruichladdich. So Bruichladdich makes some of the best Scotch you can get. Black Arts is a yearly release. It is incredibly good, but it's also like between $700 and $900. That is a non-peated whiskey, but they also make some of the best highly peated whiskey in the Octomore series. And both of those have like really sexy bottles, nice tater tubes, etc. Which, if tater tubes is the thing, almost all Scotch comes in tubes. So just keep that in mind if for whatever reason that's your affinity and that's what you're trying to get is tubes. I'm looking at you, Southside Tater. Just kidding. Anyway, like I said, this one, though, this is a $300 one, so it is more expensive. But like I said, they have a bunch of not lower end, just lower tier offerings. So I would say the Caribbean cask is a very approachable entry-level one. Unfortunately, like I said, the price is anywhere between $80 and $100 now. But the 14-year Caribbean cask from Balvenie is an excellent whiskey. And it has the rum finish, so it does have a little bit more sweeter finish, a little bit softer on the taste or on the palate. And like I said, you can find it pretty much anywhere. So most Scotch you can find pretty much anywhere. So if you're ever looking to get into it, find somebody who likes it and ask them questions, or send me a message, or leave a comment. I'm happy to guide you. I'm really not a Scotch expert. I just have drank it for about 10 years. And I've kind of learned my way in it quite a bit to know what's good, what's probably going to be good, what may be good, and what's overpriced. So for example, Johnny Blue, it's a good whiskey. It's a blended whiskey, but it's a very good whiskey. But it's not $200 whiskey, not even close. If I could get it for $100-ish, I would consider it. Same thing, Macallan. Macallan makes really good whiskey. It's just they also market very, very well, and they are a big name in James Bond, etc. So everybody's like, give me the fucking Macallan. And it's solid, but Glendronach, just as good. Dalmore, just as good. So there's a bunch of other places, and I shouldn't say just as good. Macallan does have a lot of offerings. But I'm just saying that there's a lot of really good options in the same price points or significantly less, especially if you're like looking for a gift or somebody who really likes a Scotch. If you get them a Macallan 18, it's basic. It's like giving them a Stag, like a Stag Junior. Like, it's good, but, or no, I guess that wouldn't be equivalent, because Macallan 18 actually costs like $400. Anyway, let's get back to tasting whiskey. By the way, if you like this content, if you like Scotch, let me know. I'll do more Scotch videos. I'd like to kind of be well-rounded, because I'm still learning bourbon. I have a lot of bourbon. I've spent a lot of money in bourbon. But I know Scotch much better. I've spent much more time researching it and engaging in conversations on it, talking to other Scotch drinkers. I've just kind of gotten away from it. And like I said, every time I have it, I don't know why, because it's so fucking good. And it's less proof, so you can drink more. Try different ones without burning out your whole fucking tongue. Just my 2 cents. Yeah, and once again, if peat is your concern or the smoky flavor, like I said, steer towards the Spaysides and Highlands. This is a Highland, and it has like really little to no peat at all. You know, and once again, I'm a Scotch guy, so there is always going to be a hint of peat pretty much in any Scotch. But this has like none to really be picked up on. That mouthfeel, man. So good. It's just such a pleasant experience top to bottom. The nose is great. On the tongue, it's so oily and viscous. Rolls all across. Hits all those parts, kind of lights it up. You know, like you put some Pop Rocks in your mouth and then drank some pop. So, but in like a good way, not like a, ooh, it tickles, it's weird. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, excellent Scotch. Great finish. As you can imagine, 43% alcohol isn't going to have like a super, super long lasting finish as compared to some whiskeys, some bourbons. But man, it's just an excellent bottle. Like I said, Balvenie. Some other alternatives if you're looking to spend less than this. Like I said, the Balvenie Caribbean Cask 14 year is great. Macallan is good. The Macallan 12 year is a solid one. I would recommend doing, I think it's the blue box, which is just a standard cherry finish. But there is I think it's the black box is the double oak, or double finish. So I think it's oak and sherry or something. I can't remember for sure. Like I said, I don't mean to dog Macallan. They actually have some really good juice too. It's just that the price on it is just high for most things. Like I said, some other things in this price range. Dalmore King Alexander III is about $300, $350, $250, somewhere in there. I can't remember. That's an excellent choice. Dalmore, the cigar malt, if you can still find it, is usually about $150. That's a great one. Don't let the cigar mislead you. Like, it's not overly peaty or anything like that. It's just it was made and blended for the purpose of that it went well with having a cigar. Kind of like Joseph Magnus. Like Joseph Magnus is, there's not a trace of cigar. It's not like you drink it and they're like, oh, this tastes like a cigar in a jar. It's just because it's blended with the purpose of that it would pair well with a nice cigar. So anyway, Balvenie 21 Portwood. Rating on a scale of 10, this is an easy like 8.9. It's an excellent whiskey. I'm sure there are much better ones out there. I don't have the means to buy, a Macallan 25 or a Macallan M or a Glendronach, 29 year Pedro Jimenez sherry finished. Although technically I probably would have the money to buy those if I didn't spend so much on bourbon. So there's that. Anyway, excellent whiskey. Like I said, if you ever have a chance to try it, it's great, especially if you like Scotch. It's great. I encourage you, go out there and try Scotch. Just don't try buying it and selling it and flipping it. Don't ruin the Scotch world, okay? Leave it in the fucking American capitalism bourbon world. Leave Scotch alone, okay? That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Comment, let me know what you think of this video. If you want me to do more Scotch, if you want me to try any other whiskeys or anything like that. And really, that's all I got for you. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day.